Welcome back, WIP Midday Show, live in Clearwater, Florida. And joining us right now, Phillies bench coach Don Mattingly. Don, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, good. How about you guys?
Well, I'm good. We came down here yesterday. We got to Florida.
Oh, so you're out of the snow.
Yeah, a little out of the
I
snow.
couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah.
It's been brutal up there. So how's it go? How does it feel to be a Philly? I mean, you've had this run where you were in Toronto last year, Marlins manager, Dodgers, now Phillies bench coach. How does it feel to be in this role now?
It feels good, honestly. And I guess a couple of things. Philly feels more like, I obviously played my whole career in New York. I feel like a pretty tough environment. Philly feels that way too. A lot of expectations for sports and teams, and they hold you accountable. So it really kind of feels like that is my environment best served. And it's cool being on Preston's team. Honestly, over the past few years, Preston's been in San Diego. Then he's here. Although I feel like we're kind of always on the same team, but actually kind of being on a team that we're both after the same exact thing. And I wouldn't, like last year, I'm thinking, okay, I hope we play Philly in the World Series and, kind of bumping heads with the kid, right? But now this is like, hey, we're on the same team. It's kind of cool.
So when you look at this team and you look at the way that they're constructed, what is it that you feel you can bring to the table to help get them over that hump?
Well, I think for the one thing for me is like, I'm just really coming in. This is a 96-win team, right? So you're coming in with just a new set of eyes and a little maybe different perspective on things. And at this point, I'm really just wanting to blend in and get a feel for the club and get a feel for Harp, for Schwarber, for Trey, for Marsh, Stott, all these guys, see how they work, how they go about their rhythm of the season, right? I look at each season as independent, right? You have a lot of the same actors here, right? And it's a lot of the same. I'm not quite sure what the narrative is about the Phillies of, it's the same club or, we're doing it again, right?
Running it back, kind of.
Yeah.
Right. But, I mean, there's always going to be new faces. You see Justin Crawford, who's an interesting piece. Some new guys coming, and you get to see. So the story's a lot of the same characters, but each season kind of writes its script, right? So I'm kind of part of trying to understand that script, where I fit into it. So that's kind of where I'm at. So in a sense, I can't really explain like what I'm going to be doing.
Because you're still trying to figure out the cast of characters right now.
Exactly. And what's the theme? You got a good club.
96 wins.
Yeah, obviously expect to be in the playoffs. The narrative's been, it hadn't, had the postseason. I know over time, I've been around this game enough that postseason's a crapshoot, right? The ball's got to bounce for you a little bit. Got to have a little bit of luck. Things got to go your way. So the biggest thing is get in that dance and then make your luck happen. So really taking care of the details of the game. Hopefully you're not making mistakes. And you're taking care of every detail of the game, and the ball bounces for you a little bit.
So what was it like? So how did it happen? How did you end up here? Was it did Preston call you? Was it Rob? It's such a unique thing that you here with your son. Was this something that was Dave Dombrowski? You have a relationship with Rob Thomas from back in the days with the Yankees, or was it take us through the process of how you became the bench coach here?
Yeah, it was really kind of wild. The season ended last year, obviously, when you in the season, last game of the World Series, Game 7. Actually, even the last at bat, we got a guy on third with one out with the shot to tie it back up, and all of a sudden your season's over, and then it just crashes, right? And at that point, there is just like all the emotion, energy you've put into a long season, a long playoff run where every game is important, and it's a crash, and you're just like, phew. And I kind of thought I really expected to be done. I felt like that was going to be my last year in the game. Last year was going to start hanging out with Louis and being a part of his teams, my youngest son. And then a day or two later, I don't know what it was, that Dave called. And I was like, I don't know, right? And at that point, you're just beat up, right? And just needing time to digest it Preston called, actually right before Dave called, Press calls and says Dave wants to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I said, okay. So I kind of knew at that point. I'm not sure. I think I was still under contract with the Blue Jays to a certain degree. Dave asked for permission. The Blue Jays notified me of that, and then we kind of went from there. And it was just processing, thinking it through, actually talking with Louie, because we had talked about it as the season went on. He was like, "Dad, you can't quit. You can't stop," because he was having a blast. He was in the playoffs. He's running World Series on the charter. He's on the fields, right? So he's loving it. But the whole year, I'm thinking, man, I'm going to be 65 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Times feeling like I should enjoy a little bit of something,
like some you time.
Yeah, a little bit, but still feel good. So I feel like I had another run in me. So we'll see where it goes.
So is it safe to say this is the last stop? Have you thought about ever managing again down the line, or is Phillies bench coach? Is that going to be the end of the Don Mattingly baseball career?
It's hard for me to say never says never now. Yeah. I definitely don't see myself managing. I don't think I have the energy for that, honestly, at this stage. That job is a ton of energy. There's a ton before the game. There's after the game. It's all year long. It's an energy level that I don't really feel like taking on that challenge. Right? I like what I've been doing the last few years. Let Tomps answer the questions why we did this or that. I'll make a suggestion. He gets to answer it.
So talk about that a little bit, because I've always been kind of curious of that when it comes to managing a baseball team. How much does it take to be a good manager and to know when to pull the trigger at the right times?
Well, there's a lot that goes on when you say just be a good manager. I think a lot of that starts with communication with players and like having an understanding of what they go through. You're with these guys all the time, and get to know your club, right? And so over 162 games, you're managing under different circumstances. There's nights that you may be down two of your guys in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
So you're making decisions based on, I don't have my ninth inning guy. I don't have that guy that's late inning set. I got one guy back there. I'm going to have to use some other guys. So I'm making decisions based on that. That may tend to make me say, hey, I'm gonna let Noah go another inning here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I had three guys in the back end that were all healthy, all ready to fire, then I may say, okay, let's go to the bullpen right here. So each night brings different circumstances. Each decision I make has an impact on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Pinch hitting for let's just say a Stott or a Sosa. Every time you pull a guy out from that on-deck circle and you say, hey, I'm going to let this other guy hit, you're kind of sending a little message that I don't trust
you in this situation.
So, and you don't want that, right? You want your team. So obviously the communication of all that is important. How do we get to that? So you're trying to build this unit that is really pushing as a group, right? There's a power, and you played, right? So you understand there is a power within a group of men that are all focused going somewhere. If that's fragmented here and fragmented there and fragmented, you still may have the talent, but you don't have that same last bit of like just all working as one. And it's hard to get in the professional game, right? It's hard to get in pro sports to get everybody on that page. So that's that little trick of that manager. Can he bring this group together? Can they all blend? And how do we go forward as a group?
We're talking to Phillies bench coach Don Mattingly on the Midday Show down in Clearwater, Florida. Don, let's talk about some of the guys you've worked with already here down with the Phillies now. How does Bryce look? I'm sure you probably heard, or maybe you haven't, some of the noise in the offseason. Is he still elite anymore? When you're watching Bryce Harper and you're working with him, how does he look? Because he's been a great player. Last year was not his best season, but I think a lot of people still think he has some big ones left in him.
I think there's big ones left in him, and honestly, I think this guy it's a different level for me. I've seen a lot of guys work over the years and some great players, but he is right there with those guys. His work is so clean and so precise in the cage. I'm talking hitting here. This cat's got a lot left in the tank. So I'm looking forward to watching Bryce. That was one of my texts with him as soon as I found out that I was going to be here. I can't wait to watch this guy play. I've been watching him from the other side always loved the way he hit and way he went about at the plate. Always scared me as a manager. Did not like him up there. So that has been tremendous to watch. And surprised how good he is at first, honestly. For a guy that I always thought he was an outfielder coming in to play first, I thought that could be shaky. But finding out he was really more of an infielder that got pushed to the outfield. So he's really good over at first. So I'm hoping to just see that just keep going. That's one of the areas I feel pretty comfortable talking to him about at first base. And I think there's more in there. I think he's better than that. Bobby Dickerson is a tremendous infield coach, but I still think there's more in there.
When you talk about other players, you talk about Bryce and excited about his season. Who else do you look at since you've been here and say, you know what, this guy, this year might be a good year for him?
Kind of all of them, right? Like Stott, you seem like all these guys. He has a big second half last year.
That's Joe's guy.
Yeah, I like Bryce. I mean, there's a ton of these guys. From the other side, like this lineup scares you, right? Every time you see them, that you go into Philly, you're like, man, it doesn't ever stop, right? You're seeing Stott hitting back in the 7, 8, 9 hole, whatever it is. You know, he scares you. But all these guys, he had a big second half. Marsh had a big second half. Trey's is ridiculous. Obviously, Schwarber, ridiculous. Harper, I already talked about him. JT, I had him in Miami. This is a great player, too, and a guy that you know is tough as nails. Not a lot to say, but, like, this is a guy's tough as nails. So I can go on and on. Bohm is another guy who's killed me over the years. I'm like, get this dude on. I'm glad to be on his side. So, and it's funny that you come in, from my standpoint, I see these guys differently. I think maybe everybody else sees them, because when you see a guy day in, day out, you see a lot of the little flaws, right? You see him day in, and you see more of the little nicks. I see this big old piece of, like, this guy can hit, this guy can play, this guy's a good player, this is a good team, right? So I kind of see it differently. I see it as in a positive way, that, like, it's just that little edge and the ball bouncing our way that changes this team from not only winning the division, but having the real opportunity to win it all.
You know what, Don, speaking of that, I hate to put you on the spot, but I just got to ask you this question, because my partner, he has been workshopping the top 4 hitters in the lineup, and like I said, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just kind of curious to see what you think. Because you talked about Stott and how well he's hitting in the 7 hole, but my partner wants to put Stott at 1, Trey Turner at 2, Bryce Harper hitting 3, and Schwarber at 4. Just on the surface, how do you feel about that lineup? They're starting 4 right there.
Well, number one, I'm not writing the lineup, so Rob Thompson is. So I'm not going to get too deep, but I would ask this one question, right? So that lineup bounces around, and you're in the 9th, and you're down a run, and that 2 hole comes up, and Schwarber, Harp's still not hitting, and there's 2 outs.
Yeah,
there.
you could lose the at bat late in the game.
Right.
Yeah,
and I think
that feels like where it's gone now. That's why these guys hit at the top.
That's been the battle. Guerrero last year, he was really comfortable in 3, so they left him there. But the thing is that 4th at bat and maybe the 5th comes up, usually with the game on the line late if you're in a close game, and you want that guy to have the at bat, right? Either Harper or Schwarber.
It's changed so much, and I mean that perspective was never the perspective to even 20 years ago. Now it is. It's like you're not thinking about the first inning, you're thinking about the 8th and the 9th inning. And that changes things.
Well, you want this guy to come up as much as possible. And if you start looking at the 3 hole, the 3 hole comes up, I think, more than any spot in baseball with nobody on base. Okay. So there's different ways to look at it. And, lineup optimizers they're kind of cool. They've, like you said, they have been recent, where they're showing how your lineup works together. With the 3-batter minimum, with the pitcher has to go, stay in. You try to build your lineup in a way that balances your lefties and your righties, not give them spots to bring in a righty here and catch 3 righties, right? You're trying to balance it out the best you can and make it deep. But like sometimes, like Bryce and Schwarber both hit lefties. So it's like you don't mind putting them together, so let's go ahead, bring on your lefties. We'll take them on.
What do you think the right balance is between optimizing a lineup, what we're talking about with the guy coming up in the 9th inning, versus where a guy is comfortable? Because it feels like with the Phillies, these guys have been pretty comfortable in spots. Schwarber, they moved around, but Bryce has hit third a lot since he got to the Phillies. Like in your mind, what has that balance? You mentioned Guerrero liked hitting that third spot, because that's a tricky balance, it feels like, for any team.
It is, and and it's funny, it's probably something that you can't get paper on, but as a player, when you're in a spot and you're comfortable, you know the guy behind you, the guy in front of you, there are little intricacies of at-bats. So guys do get comfortable in a spot. You'd like them to get over it if you can optimize your lineup better by moving guys a little bit. But when you start shuffling that lineup, sometimes the lineup optimizer will have guys all over the place. One day they're hitting sixth, one day they're hitting third, one day they're hitting second, if you look at that optimizer. So it's like that's a tough battle with guys, and it's tough for the feel of a long season. You want that somewhat continuity. You want to have a blend and be able to mix and match a little. But when you do it a lot, guys don't like it. Don't like it very much, and then you end up with that comfort level battle, right? Which is real without being able to put a number on it.
A lot of changes in baseball, just the rules and the pitch clock in the last few years. What do you think of the ABS system, seeing it in place? Do you think it's a good thing? And would you have used it? Like, would you have been a guy that challenged a lot, or would you have just let it be?
No, I definitely would use it. There's no reason not to use it, right? If you know the strike zone, honestly, like my talk with an umpire would be, hey, that ball's close, but it's an inch and a half out, right? So if he misses by an inch and a half, and if it's first pitch, I'm probably going to let it roll, right, depending on the at-bat and the time of the game. Mm-hmm. But if a guy would miss first pitch, I'm going to say, hey, I know that's close, but that's an inch and a half out. Is that as far as we're going? Because in those days, they would go past it, right? But now they can't, right? So you have the challenge. So I think I would definitely use it if it was there. I like it. I think it becomes – we're starting to standardize the strike zone, so one guy's zone's not hit. We're not getting scouting reports on umpires that this guy misses more here, so pitchers are trying to throw the ball out of the zone more there. So we're starting to get away from that, which I think is good. I think the two challenges is fair, so it's not like all the time. Completely automated would be like something that you wouldn't really like to see. I feel like that would really lengthen games and make it it would feel different to me. But I do like the challenge system.
I'm kind of curious, how strategic would you be in using that? Because we were kind of workshopping in it. Would you let everybody challenge, or would you challenge maybe not in the first 5 innings and maybe the latter of the game? I mean, how would you strategically use that?
It's tough for me to really answer it because I've never been a part of it. But they have talked to us about it, and there's talk about like how you should be aggressive with it. Mm-hmm. And there are different leverage spots in the game. Sometimes a leverage spot may be the 4th inning, and you say, hey, we're not going to challenge until the 5th, and make sure we got it for the end of the game. Well, that biggest leverage may be in the 5th, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the same with like using leverage pitchers in the 7th. You may use your closer at times in the 7th to stop the best part of their order, because it might be the biggest inning of the game, right? So it's kind of the same with the challenge system. So there has been talk. We've listened to the AAA guys talk about it a little bit because they've been a part of it. So I know I think that's a fluid conversation with us on how we're going to use it.
Last one for you, Don. This group, I know you've just been here a little bit, but is there talk about winning the World Series? Like, does that stuff happen? Like, when a team is this close, this good, is there chatter about winning the World Series, or is it more just day-to-day, go about their business, and the goal is just everyone knows what it is? Or do you feel like these kind of teams talk about it?
No, I think they definitely talk about it. I don't think it's one of those things that you're daily sitting here in the locker room every day coming in, going having breakfast and going, hey, man, listen, we need to win the World Series, or we got to win the World Series. When you're in the day-to-day, you're talking about getting better today, your work, where you're at with your body, things like that. There's a whole process. You know where the rainbow pot of gold is, but there's a lot of steps to get there, and we're in spring training and day whatever it is, and you're trying to lay a foundation of fundamentally sound, taking care of your details baseball for me, and prepared to play 162 games. That's a lot of baseball, right? That's a day in, day out business. So we're grinding away right now and throughout the season, really. But you always know what's at the end of that.
Yeah, and that's the goal. Don Mattingly here with us on the Midday Show. Don, appreciate it. Welcome to Philadelphia. People are excited to have you here, and good luck this season.
Appreciate it. Nice being here, guys.
There he goes. Don Mattingly on the Midday Show.